All right, Ben Shapiro is now pounding Trump for the insane tariffs. Why do we care what Ben Shapiro says? There are really two reasons. Number one, this is a very strong supporter of Trump's, who has often said before, sure, Trump says a lot of things, but the things he does are basically fine. Ben Shapiro, in fact, said during, I believe it was a debate with Sam Harris some months ago, before Trump was elected, Trump's not actually going to do a lot of this stuff. I don't remember if he included the tariffs in that, but he said Trump's not going to do a lot of the stuff he's saying he's going to do. And now Ben Shapiro seems almost shocked that he is indeed doing this stuff. Secondly, this guy has a huge audience on the right, so it does matter if he starts to say, this doesn't make sense. Let's take a listen.
Yesterday, President Trump declared that it was, in fact, Liberation Day. His giant tariff policy that he just dropped on the market unilaterally, probably unconstitutionally. Trump's reciprocal tariffs impose hundreds of billions of dollars in new taxes on Americans, be the largest tax increase since the Revenue Act of 1968. One of the biggest tax increases on American consumers in the history of America. And it's going to cost American consumers. It will cost American producers who use inputs from other countries. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plummeted immediately more than 1,000 points. The S&P 500 plummeted more than 3%. The NASDAQ plummeted almost 4.5%. There are real world implications for this sort of stuff. Trade wars are, in fact, not good and not easy to win, particularly if you don't actually have a plan. It is predicated on a bad idea of how international trade works. A fundamental misunderstanding of trade deficits. Trade deficits they're an accounting procedure. Trade deficits have pretty much nothing to do with the health of an economy. I can name you a period in American history where there was a fairly large surplus in America's balance of trade. The entire Great Depression.
Yeah. So he makes a lot of points here that you can't dispute. I mean, tariffs are a tax. You can't dispute that. It's a tax on imports specifically. It's not a tax on income. It's not a tax on sales. It's a tax on imports. That's undeniable. Secondly, the trade balance, and in fact, the trade deficit, is not objectively a bad thing. It's sort of like, is 5% unemployment good or bad? Well, you have to consider what's the trend, what's the state of the economy, what's the age distribution of people in the economy. There's how many open jobs are there, all of these different things. And similarly, the trade deficit is a result of 50 years of cumulatively making economic decisions that make us increasingly an economy of services rather than products, and an importer of stuff we would rather pay less for than pay more and manufacture it domestically. The trade deficit, in a sense, is actually a sign of an economy that has matured to a degree beyond simply manufacturing of widgets. Now, you can say it's good or bad. You can say it should change, but the trade deficit in and of itself is not a problem. And similarly, Ben Shapiro correctly assesses that there is no real plan here. Now, if you ask different people associated with MAGA, what is the plan? They'll give you a couple of answers. One is, this will make countries treat us fairly so that then we will have growth. It's not really a plan, and it's not really the way economics works. Another one, well, over the long term, there will be short-term pain, but over the long term, we're going to start manufacturing all of this stuff domestically, and we will be better off. Now, there's no question that over a decade, we could start to manufacture a lot of the stuff we are tariffing domestically, but it's going to cost a lot more. Take $1,000 phone, which just on an inflation-adjusted basis in a decade would cost, who the hell knows, $1,500. We could start manufacturing it domestically, but in a decade, it would be the equivalent. Instead of the $1,500 that the foreign one will be inflation adjusted, it would be $2,000 or $2,200. Do people really want to do that and that be the solution at the end of the rainbow and pay higher prices for the next decade? Maybe we do, but most people don't. And so this is the problem with the off-ramp. So I expect that these tariffs will not last indefinitely. I expect that when Trump pulls them back, he will say that it's because he won and everybody capitulated. I don't expect that to actually be true, but it will be Trump saying, praise me for putting out the fire that I set. After researching, writing, refining, The Echo Machine, my book, is finally out. This is not just a book about how American politics got so broken. It's also about what's happening right now and what we can still do to stop things from getting worse. Trump's been back in power. The results have been even more catastrophic than many feared, with targeting of political opponents and gutting democratic institutions, laying the groundwork to even further consolidate power. But the thing is that none of this is inevitable. The same forces that brought us here can be countered if we understand how they work and what to do about them. And that's what the Echo Machine is all about. Some say that without corporate media backing, books like this can't succeed. I think we can prove them wrong. You can get the Echo Machine right now at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, or by calling any local bookstore and asking them to order it. This book is more important than ever. If you care about what happens next, and I do, check out The Echo Machine today at davidpakman.com/echo.